Hello, everyone, and Merry
Hi.
Christmas Eve Eve.
Oh God, yeah.
Welcome to your weekly call with Shaun and myself, where you get to see two dashing men live on camera and
Dashing through the
potentially
snow.
dashing, dashing, dashing through the snow. Well, I've sung a choir version of Jingle Bells at the start of that. Dashing, 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 snow, snow, snow. Tenor line was always great fun. Anyway, let's get into today's topic. So we are not very far away from putting 2020 behind us. I'm sure many of us are looking forward to doing that. However, with Brexit and this new strain of coronavirus and all other things happening, it doesn't look like the start of 2021 will have much more in store that will be much different. However, we can't control those things. What we
No.
can control are our responses and our actions, and the new year is a great time to set some goals. Isn't that right, Shaun?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Why not? It's good a time as any.
Why not? Why not, indeed? And so, if we were to set a New Year's resolution to be part of that 8% of people who actually make a go of it and stick with it beyond February, I think it was that the study showed.
Mhm.
What do we have to do? What would be your top tips?
Well, I think first off, you need to make sure that, because I think the reason that a lot of New Year's resolutions fail is because people try to change their actions or try to be different. So, like you say, I'm going to wake up on the 1st of January, and it's all going to be different. I'm gonna eat well. I'm gonna exercise. I'm gonna do all this kind of stuff. Like you make all
Mm,
these promises to change your actions, but it's probably more important to. I think the people that do succeed change their thoughts and their thoughts and their feelings
mm,
around who they are. I think it's actually better to say rather than I'm going to stop eating chocolate, for example,
mm,
or I'm going to stop eating junk food. It's probably much more powerful to say I am the kind of person that is is a healthy eater that
mm,
can still enjoy junk food every now and then,
mm,
right? Like because then you're talking about your identity rather than I'm going to stop doing this, I'm going to stop doing that, I'm going to start doing this. Because those things they fall by the wayside too easily, you know.
mm. Yeah, definitely. And by focusing on a positive identity, we then go into that habit of focusing on the awesome of oneself and focusing on the positive actions that one can do to follow those, as opposed to
Mm,
the negative actions of stopping something.
yeah.
We've talked about in the past being more successful with behavior change comes from this idea of we want to do more of the positive things that we're already doing. Like, where have we already been successful? What have we been successful in that we can relate to fitness and nutrition? Maybe we are really good at our jobs. Maybe we're really good parents. Maybe we're really
Mm,
good friends. Maybe we're really good readers or organizers. And if those are skills that we have, how can we use those to positively influence our fitness habits? And there will be correlations there.
hmm.
So rather than thinking, right, yeah, January 1st, I'm going to give up meat, for example, and do veganry, perhaps it's like, well, actually, I want to eat more vegetables.
Yeah, yeah. And so one day a week, my meals are going to be vegetarian, for example. I think like doing it that way is a healthier way than just going on cutting out meat for all of January. Because I did that once. I tried to go vegetarian for a month, and um, I hated it really because it was too much of a quick change for me. It
Yeah.
was I just ended up eating carbs because I was hungry,
Mm-hmm.
um, and couldn't be bothered to cook like really you know like or not even didn't have the knowledge of how to cook really good vegan food.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I just said to myself, one meal a week, I'm going to have a really nice vegan meal,
Mm.
I'm then much more likely to research how to make it, get the ingredients, that kind of, because it's easier, it's more simple, it's more achievable.
Mm.
Um, and again, that applies to New Year's resolutions as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, because I think the biggest thing with New Year's resolutions is trying too much too soon.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
as you said there, like I tried to give up all of my meat at once to become a vegetarian, and it was too big of a change.
Hmm.
And as much as we are motivated to make change, and as much as that's a good thing in a lot of ways, because we can dramatically make change, if we try to do too much too soon, it can all get on top of us. It's easier to fall off the wagon, let's say, and it's easier to then deem ourselves a failure and stop ourselves in our tracks, right? Just because
Yeah.
we've tried to do too much at once.
Yeah.
So really, the better thing to be doing is thinking, well, actually, how can I break this behavior down into a really small step that I know I'm going to be able to do day in, day out without fail?
Mm. Yeah, because if you still have the motivation to change that thing, whatever it is that you want to do, like, you know, if you do want to eat less meat, you don't have to just cut out meat.
Mm.
Like, it is literally, you know, just make small changes, right? Like, and small changes that you find achievable and attainable and sustainable.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, and I think again, you can apply that with the identity piece of like, I'm the kind of person that, you know, if you care about the planet, for example, like that's going to be a bigger why than, you know, someone told me I should go vegan because it's better for me.
Mm.
Doesn't mean anything to you, really, does it? You know, it's not. But if your reason is that you have researched into the way cows are farmed, for example, and you don't like it, you know, like then you probably have an easier time cutting out beef, for example, because you have that bigger why.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can say that you're the kind of person that doesn't eat beef because you know how the farming practices are, you know what the farming practices are, and you don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's attached to kind of your identity and a bigger why.
Mm. Yeah, and I mean on that, like let's clarify as well that we're not saying to people that meat is bad for you or that you should give up meat, but
God
obviously
no.
a lot of people do it for ethical reasons.
Mm.
And reducing processed meat is something that is linked with better health outcomes in general. And by
Yeah,
processed, I mean really heavily processed sandwich meat and
yeah,
things like bacon and sausages. So those
okay,
should probably
yeah,
be reduced to 1 to 2 times a week, really.
yeah,
And other meats are fine. You know, red meats got lumped in together with transaturated fats, and there was a lot of negative outcomes there. But really, red meat in its purest form is fine and very
mm,
health promoting. But if you do struggle on the ethical side of things, that's okay too. And there
mm,
are ways that you can look for more ethically farmed produce. You can look for ethical farms in terms of the way that they deal with their cattle and their animals and free range and all of those things. I wouldn't necessarily go down the organic route because there's not any evidence to suggest that's healthier, but
mm,
more ethical, if that's your way inclined, is definitely a great way to look at it. And as Shaun said, if your goal is to increase your vegetable intake, maybe that actually just becomes your goal of, well, for one meal a day, I'm going to have, two fist-sized portions of vegetables,
yeah,
or because that way, you've got the fist here, you can see really easily how many vegetables you're going to be having on that plate. Okay, my plate needs this many vegetables. And it doesn't matter if that's onions, mushrooms, peppers, lettuce, cauliflower,
yeah,
broccoli, cucumber, aubergine,
yeah,
tomatoes, leeks,
yeah.
or any other lovely sprouts, for
Green
example.
beans.
Christmas is a perfect time for veggies with your sprouts. That's for
Yeah,
sure. And then that way you've got an actionable goal that
mm,
you can aim towards. I think that's what people miss is that when it comes to setting New Year's resolutions, it can be very easy to just throw something into the ether and
mm,
say, I'm going to exercise more, or I'm going to eat less, or I'm going to eat less chocolate, or I'm going to drink less alcohol, or I'm going to eat more vegetables.
mm,
But what does that actually look like as a
yeah,
clear cut actionable habit? Because if you're not sure what that is, it's very easy to just miss the mark completely.
yeah, yeah. Agreed.
Good.
I
So what
thought you froze it for a second there.
no, I was just seeing if you'd elaborate on the point. So
No,
what I'm
just
saying here,
agreed.
guys, that for example, the 2 fists of veggies, if you break that down into a really small habit, maybe that is too much for you. Maybe it's 1 fist-sized portion of veggies at one meal a week, and then you can decide what meal that is. And if you are successful with that habit and tick it off on a regular basis, that then makes life a lot easier for you, and you can scale that up. The last thing you want to do is say, I'm going to go and exercise 5 times a week. I'm going to eat protein and vegetables at every meal. I'm going to reduce my portions of rice and pasta to only the meal after exercise. And I'm also going to sleep 8 hours a night and meditate for 30 minutes a day.
Good luck. And if it works, great. You're winning the life.
That's what 30-day challenges are for, though, isn't it? This
Yeah.
whole transform your body and mind in 30 days or less.
Yeah.
That's what we can get sucked into.
Yeah. Well, because it promises a very big thing, doesn't it, at the end?
Mm.
Basically makes you a brand new person.
Yeah, it does. But unfortunately, those things aren't sustainable.
No.
Which we've quickly seen.
How do and I think with New Year's resolutions as well is that if you make the grand goal too big as well, it can mess you up a little bit. So like it's good to have a vision of where you want to be. Like, like my big life kind of vision is that I want to be a man of value to my friends, my wife, my son, my community, and like if I just wrote down a New Year's resolution that this year I'm going to be a man of value, like what does that even mean? How do I do that? How do I like what's my goalposts? What's my this is success, this is failure? You know what I mean? Like, whereas I need to break things down into different things, right? Like different goals, smaller goals, tangible things that I know I can do, that I've got, the ability to do. I'm ready, willing, and able to do as well. So it's like if you say that you want to eat more vegetables, give yourself like a scale of 1 to 10. How likely are you actually, or how ready are you to actually add 2 fists of vegetables to your to your dinner every day? And if it's anything less than like a 10 or a 9 or a 10, then it's probably too big a goal. Whereas if you can say, I'm a 10 to add it into 1 meal a week, then do that. And if you hit that goal for 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row, then say, all right, now I'm going to add it to 2 meals and start keep building it through there, right? So yeah,
it's a great point, because I think not often do we consider if we are ready, willing, and able to do something. And I think today's podcast is actually about that, about ready, willing, and able. And let me just double check, because what you just said there is a great point, in that people think, yeah, okay, this sounds like it is today. This sounds like a great idea to do this thing. But actually, it might be a really big change on your life. Like, are you ready to make that change? Are you ready for the implication that change has in your day-to-day running of your life? And if you are, then are you willing to do that? Because those are 2 different things. Like, being ready is one thing, being willing is another. Are you willing to make the change? Is it something that you're wanting to go through, especially when the goings get tough and it really starts to kind of crack down on you? Are you able to do it? Is that last point of like, do you have the knowledge? Do you have the ability? Do you know what you're aiming for? Do you understand how to do it? That's what I meant with clarifying a fist-sized portion of veggies at a certain meal each week. Then your ability to do it skyrockets, because you know what you're aiming for. You know what done looks like with that habit. Then the second side is, can you make veggies? Do you know how to enjoy them well? Do you know how to add them to your meals? So those have all got to be things that you consider before taking on any habit.
Yeah.
Same with exercise, same with sleep. Are you ready, willing, and able to do those things? Because if not, then you need to shrink them down or choose something else. Sleep only 10 minutes extra a night, or go on just a 10-minute walk. If you set yourself a really low barrier of entry, it might sound so easy, but the point is it needs to be so easy you don't say no. You don't not do it.
And if you think it sounds too easy, do it every day for 2 weeks.
Yeah, show yourself you can do it.
Yeah, show me. If I'm your coach and we're discussing this kind of thing, and you've said that you're a 10, like you're ready to walk 10 minutes a day, you're willing to
Mm,
walk 10 minutes a day, and you're able to walk 10 minutes a day, and you're a 10 on all of those. But then you're like, but then I should just do 30 minutes because 10 minutes is too easy. So, well, show me you can do 10 minutes every day first.
yeah.
And if you can, then we'll increase it. Um, I think there's no need to rush these things, right? As well,
No,
especially if they
that's
had their new habits that you're trying to implement
mhm.
to replace bad habits, for example.
Yeah, that's a great point because too often there's pressure to do all of this stuff now. And really, when we're looking at long term health and transformations, both physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever,
Mm.
that's going to take time.
Hmm.
Your relationship with food isn't going to be fixed within a week, just like your body won't transform within a week. And
Yeah,
you're not going to pick up new habits in the space of a week. This whole, oh, it takes 30 days to build a new habit. It's like, no, it doesn't, mate. Sorry. It actually takes a long time.
yeah,
And it takes a lot of successful repetitions to build a new habit. Like there are still I'm on a 410-day streak on Duolingo, but there are still days when I nearly forget to do it,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
only something that kicks me that thinks, "Oh crap, yeah." Like most of the time, I keep it in the same routine, but if I'm
yeah,
out of that routine, it's very easy to forget. So I need to try and there's something that reminds me to do it, and it's only
yeah.
because I don't want to lose that streak now that I do at least one lesson a day. But one
Hmm.
lesson takes less than 5 minutes.
Mm.
So then look at that barrier of entry. If you're wanting to pick up exercise, if you're wanting to cook more meals, if you're wanting to learn an instrument or a language or fucking write a book, I don't know,
Mm. Mm.
start small, do it consistently, and then build on that consistency because then
Yeah.
you'll be more successful.
I think writing a book's a good one to because with that you can vision board it. Like you can say, well, my vision is to write this book,
Mm,
and then you can break it down into like chat like the story, beginning,
mm,
middle, end, and then you can break it down into chapters, and then you've got characters and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the thing that probably is the most scary about for me writing a book would be that I've got to do this much writing. It's got to be like hundreds of pages of writing. Whereas if I just think I'm going to write one page a day
mm,
or one paragraph a day, like
mm,
I'll write more, okay, but one page a day, let's say, it's going to be a lot easier for me to complete that book than if I'm like, oh, I've got so much to write, there's so many chapters and all that kind of stuff, like that's why we break habits down into really simple things, and if it is just get protein in at breakfast rather than get protein in every meal, if that's
mm.
what you need to do, then that's what you should be doing.
Absolutely. So to sum up, guys, New Year's resolutions do work. We're not going to be that type of people that say, "Don't bother, it's stupid." They do work, and you can dramatically change your life and set new goals and achieve them. But what we would recommend you do is choose actionable habits that align with your long-term goals. So set yourself something outcome based, and then think about what behavior actions can lead to that outcome. When you have that behavior, shrink it down to something really simple that you are ready, willing, and able to do consistently. Set yourself up an accountability system of checking it off or telling people or keeping yourself accountable in some way or another to do that on a daily basis and make it obvious that you have to do it, and then build on that consistency over time. Once that feels like a habit, make it harder, add new things, but seriously, start with one thing at a time,
Mm,
break it down, add to it, because that way it doesn't matter how long this kind of thing takes, just matters that it lasts,
mm, yep,
unlike every other quick fix in the past.
agreed.
Boom.
Again, yeah,
Okay,
mic
guys,
drop.
have a great Christmas on Friday, everyone. despite the circumstances in the world that you may be living in, I hope that you manage to spend some time with at least one loved one or close acquaintance and
Yeah.
make some decent memories and have some good food.
And also, if you are alone, remember that other single household people can meet up. They are allowed to see each other. So if you have any friends that are also alone, you can actually see each other inside.
Good point.
So yeah, you don't have to be alone. Hopefully.
Stay safe, guys. Take care. Enjoy the day. And we'll see you next week for another weekly dose of Shaun and Johnny.
Yeah.
See you, peeps.
Bye.